The timer has started on the Ottawa Senators, which at the time of this recording, it must be said, Brady Tkachuk has not re-signed.
That's a big deal.
If you're hearing this and Brady Tkachuk has signed, then that changes things pretty significantly. But let's say this is going to drag on because that's what it seems like it's going to do. This doesn't seem like this is going to get wrapped up anytime soon. The big bone of contention, not necessarily money because Ottawa has it. They have it physical dollars they actually have. But also they have a ton of cap space. And they haven't, as of this moment, hit the cap floor even with the Tyler Ennis signing. I do think it's going to be a big problem if Brady Tkachuk even goes 2 or 3 weeks into this season. Because you think about where that puts an NHL player, how far behind it goes. And both sides are dug in. They want, Ottawa wants long-term. Brady Tkachuk's like, and this is the rumor, why would I go long-term on this franchise? It's been turbulent lately. What do you say to that?
Well, here's how being a Leaf fan melts your brain. Because the Sens ran the Leaf show. Let's be honest.
Sure did last year.
Outside of like one game, I mean, geez, the erasing the 5-1 deficit. For where the Leafs were in the standings and for where the Sens were in the standings, the Sens did far better against the Leafs than they should have because I thought they were in the Leafs' head. So, that being said, I'm describing the Ottawa Senators. Pesky team? Pesky team?
I'd say pesky. I'd say hardworking. Gregarious.
Pesky, hardworking team, and they can score. 19th in the league. They were bottom half.
19th.
They were 19th in the league, and part of the reason they lost so many games is they were 28th in goals against.
I don't think people thought the Senators were a good team.
I think the narrative is watch out, though. Watch out, because they're going to be much better.
That's fool's gold. Don't buy into that narrative.
Well, this is why I had the Red Wings higher than them.
Yeah.
I think there is some the element of the power of your imagination. That's what you have with the Detroit Red Wings. With the Ottawa Senators, I'm like, yeah, I could absolutely see them taking a step. But if Brady Tkachuk misses time, Colin White is missing time.
4 to 5 months at this point?
Yeah, it's going to be a big problem.
Right.
A very, very big problem.
You got one more finger, say the biggest problem. Matt Murray can't play goaltender in the National Hockey League.
Well, if he were to bounce back, that's a big thing.
That's a much better outlook for the Senators.
And what I said about the Sens heading into last season is, well, they don't look very good, but they'll get saves. No. Well, they did. They did. And I didn't do this for very many teams, but for the Sens, I wrote down 3 goalies.
Who are the goalies?
Ryan Murray, who we've talked about. Anton Forsberg.
Matt Murray.
What did I say?
You said Ryan, but yeah.
That's because I wrote down Ryan, and that's wrong. It's Matt Murray. I don't know. There is a Ryan Murray, isn't there? Whatever.
I don't know.
Matt Murray, Anton Forsberg, who you might remember being held hostage basically last season by the waiver wire.
Yep.
And then finally landing in Ottawa. He's like, can I play a gosh darn game? And he was pretty good. You know who else was pretty good? Philip Gustafson, who was a .933 in the games that he played.
Where is he?
Ottawa. He could get sent down, though, on account of they can.
And they lost their best goalie prospect in the expansion draft, whose name escapes me right now.
Joey Decord.
Joey Decord, because Seattle scooped him up because that was the right pick to make.
But part of the reason that they were able to do that, able to stomach losing him, one, they committed to Matt Murray for quite some time. But also, Philip Gustafson has been really good. Really good.
I'm curious about this. The Matt Murray thing is a big thorn in Ottawa's side.
What's his name?
Matt Murray.
Got it.
Ryan Murray would be the defenseman, I think.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a defenseman?
Jake Murray.
Jake Murray. John Murray.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Matt Murray.
Murray.
Tell me about Matt Murray.
It's a big one because this is a big contract that he's on. This is a team that does not spend money. Pierre Dorian got the green light to spend the money last year and probably had to overspend to bring Matt Murray to Ottawa. Although I do question, dummy that I was last year, I was like, oh, we should bring him into the Leafs. Probably not. Thank God Dubas is the GM and I'm not. But
we didn't think he'd get 6.25. He got more than Markstrom.
Wow. Now you're paying an Ottawa tax on that one.
Yes.
Not just because, and it's not a diss towards the city. This didn't used to be necessarily the case. But the ownership situation will cost you money when it comes to real dollars and cap dollars. And it clearly did with Matt Murray. He probably had another opportunity, at least one other opportunity, and took the Senators because the money was there. The Senators need him to perform. The problem is that he didn't perform the last season and a half in Pittsburgh, and then last year wasn't that great in Ottawa. So what do we do? How do we expect? I mean, it's like, oh, we need saves from him. Well, he hasn't delivered that for the last 2.5 years. That's usually a pretty bad sign, right?
It's arguable this is a bigger question mark on the Ottawa Senators than Brady Tkachuk.
Wow. No kidding. Because here's the thing.
I don't think Brady Tkachuk's going to miss many games.
I don't think so either, but $6.25 million. Does Brady Tkachuk even make that kind of money?
Well, we don't know based on the contract. I think that's roughly around the number. Probably,
on a 3
if
or
he
a
gets
4 or a
3-year
5?
deal.
3-year deal?
Because the argument that we had on, I think the podcast we just recorded is, I mean, on a 3-year deal, you're not getting Elias Pettersson money, which is about 7.35, I think. So, okay, what's the number? I don't think he's going to like it very much because I think it's going to be low 6s, maybe in the 5s.
I have to say, Matt Murray, I just want to throw this out there, 338 goals against average, and if you don't like that stat, here's one that's a little more accurate, 893 save percentage. If he can improve that to like 10 points to a 903, they're not going to be 28th anymore.
You're asking a lot.
Well, I wonder what his numbers would be without the Oilers games. Because in the same way that the Sens sort of got the Leafs goat, holy cow, did the Oilers spank the Sens up and down the ice when they played them. Every puck found the way to the back of the net. Matt Murray did actually, through the midpoint of the season, throw together some good games. But the start was brutal, and every now and then McDavid and Draisaitl would show up in town and ruin his day.
Tim Stützle should take a real step forward here this year. At least you're hoping for that. Am I the only one? Loves to shoot. And that's a guy that, with Brady Tkachuk in there, Brady Tkachuk seems to soak up all the oxygen right now. But Tim Stützle's a guy that they have to be super pumped about.
Stützle, Norris, Tkachuk. That's your future.
Shane Pinto.
Yep.
Drake Batherson.
Also Drake Batherson. They have the list of names of guys who are on the come up who will make the core of this team. Thomas Chabot, obviously. We haven't mentioned him, but he's also the young guys who will make up the future of the Ottawa Senators.
So here's a make or break for that core that you're mentioning, Jesse. Eric Brannstrom. He's the guy that they got in the Mark Stone trade. He's one of the first, I believe he is the first draft pick Vegas ever made.
Well, they've gotten rid of all of them. So
and he was a highly touted defenseman. He's one of the first. He's a first rounder. DJ Smith last year.
And Nick Suzuki.
Last year, DJ Smith apparently said straight up, "I don't like the way this player plays." This year, he's penciled in the lineup. You know, they've got him at least as number 6 on D, and they're going to play him with Nick Holden, who is a steady veteran defenseman.
That'll help.
That will help.
Who they also got from the Golden Knights.
Yes.
For Dodonov.
Yeah. So Artem Zub and Nikita Zaitsev, still Nikita Zaitsev, on the right side ahead of him, so he will be sheltered. What do you know about him? What's went wrong? And is this the season where we finally get to see, okay, what's 82 games of this guy look like?
He does, at very least, fit that pesky notion that we were talking about off the top. But pesky is like small guy who plays mean. This is big, mean guy who plays mean. So
that's good.
Yes, that'll be good. That's what you want in a defenseman, and he can actually defend. At least the numbers seem to suggest that, not like some of the guys who they've brought in. Zub, I know a lot of Sens fans really liked last year. And with DJ Smith's comment about Brannstrom, like, part of development is pushing guys.
Yeah.
Like, we've heard similar things with Rasmus Sandin in Toronto. With so many players, you can be better. The whole thing with young players is they can be better, and that's part of it.
A completely revamped fourth line. Listen to these names. Sanford, like as in Zach, Andrew Agazzino, and Tyler Ennis. So you got some mean and you got some speed. And it's nice to see Tyler Ennis still sticking it out, right?
Yeah.
He's a good player, man. I like him. And Sanford fits, again, what they want to do.
Austin Watson also does, too, and he's on the third line.
Yes, he does.
So Senators, they just want to be, if they're not going to be skilled, they are going to be mean.
Yeah, but that's what you do. That's what you do when you don't have the skill. And if you have the skill to accompany it, all of a sudden you're looking a little bit more formidable.
We're running out of time, but I do want to say quickly, Jesse, do you have something you want to jump in with?
I was just going to say, I like what Pierre Dorian's done with the rebuild of the team, because he hasn't gone out and made the big move to speed up anything, whether that's because he's not allowed to spend the money or not, but he hasn't like traded for Eichel or Tarasenko. He's kind of just left it alone for the team to be what they are, and I really like that, and I think they have a really bright future because of that.
Agreed. And I think the difference between their rebuild and the Sabres rebuild is the Senators do have an identity. While we're waiting for the skill to catch up, we are going to make things really painful. You're not going to like playing us. Now,
and they're going to win a couple games.
They are going to win a couple games because of that. So, projections. Jesse Blake.
I have the Ottawa Senators in 5th place in the division.
Wow.
I really like what they've done. I like Pierre Dorian and the job he's done. Losing Colin White is huge. I think they're going to have a season of pain. 7th.
I have them in 6th place. Reason being, I think they still are better than Detroit. I think DJ Smith has done an amazing job with the players he has. Tkachuk gets back, and I think it changes things completely. And I would really like to see Forsberg play more than 8 games in goal this year. So hopefully,
I'm surprised it was that much.
with any luck, the Sabres are terrible. Detroit's not great. Maybe Ottawa can finish ahead of them and definitely surprise some first and second place teams when they're having sleeper nights. Time is up.